And I just remember his comb over blowing off the back of his hair. He was like, "This is fantastic." So that was always a highlight. This is Audible. This is Audible. This is Audible. I would say the winning formula is the unlikely love story between a struggling F1 driver and his hotshot race engineer as they navigate the circuits of love, loss, grief. On the way, hopefully, to find a podium finish, can they find the winning formula? I would say it's friends to lovers, because I really enjoy the tension involved in two characters that aren't quite admitting their feelings for each other or somewhat in denial about them. I think that tension really plays and it makes things really sexy. I also really enjoy honesty in love stories, talking about characters' failures and their foibles as well as their successes. So things like plays like Closer by Patrick Marber. I really enjoy the honesty in things like that. So I've really enjoyed jumping between accents in this one as much as I've struggled, and finding the tension and the frisson between Sienna and Finn has been a really enjoyable experience. The winning formula in 3 words: resilience, romance, and triumph. Bouncing the characters with another person, being able to look each other in the eyes through a lot of these emotional scenes and through some of the scenes in general is really exciting. It's like working on the floor, and you can really feel each other's connection and humour. My most interesting car story, I've had a lot. I had one of those subwoofers in my car, I think when I was like 16 or 17, and I showed my granddad that. And I just remember his comb over blowing off the back of his hair. He was like, "This is fantastic." So that was always a highlight. But I've had, since I was 19 years old, I had a classic car, a 65 black on black Mustang. And I loved that car. I only sold it a couple of years ago. It was my daily driver. She had a lot of personality. She was quite quirky. And at one stage, I was driving from Sydney to Melbourne down the Hume Highway. I was about halfway down. There's no lights across the road, and the electrics in my car started to fail. And so I was driving down the Hume Highway at 110, and my headlights would go on, off, on, off, on, and I'd be behind a truck. So I spent most of the journey traveling behind trucks to borrow their headlights, who were getting very annoyed because they thought I was flashing them for 3 hours at a time. I did check that. You can't count the last 5, I don't think. Okay, my last text message in my most dramatic voice. Marley girl has been fantastic, except for she seems to have contracted intestinal worms. Probably from an egg or rot in the food. She's been treated though. She's been a happy girl, bro. Smiley face. Didn't miss me at all while I was overseas at Disneyland for dogs, it seems. Probably back down the 11th-ish for a week, depending on what happens at home. Kiss. Kiss.